Tom Albany, gradedpitching.com. This is Jack, another pitching analysis. So we've been working for 5 weeks. Let's take you up at your, hold on, let me turn this around. Come on, turn. Oh, it won't let me. Okay. Take you up at the top here. Let's get you to your leg lift. Okay, so take a look at how when you lift your leg, you can tell that your weight is evenly distributed between both legs. And you can see that there's a little shift back there, like you're pushing some weight back. That should already be there at that point, so you want to start with more of a flex in the back knee so you don't have to move backwards. You can even see your head shift back just a little bit as you lift. Okay, that should already be back where your chin is kind of starting behind your midsection there, the midline of your chest, and it's just a little bit out in front. So let's get you up to your leg kick here. Okay, so you post up nice and straight. Remember, you want to move a little bit more athletically. You want to get these hips to start moving as your leg is coming up. Okay, so you want the body to start moving so you can build off that momentum and build more speed into your front foot. So if you post up like this, it's a very controlled move, a slow move, but it's probably not going to help you out too much from this distance at this point. So you want to start moving with a little bit more athleticism, a little more movement as you're going up. So right about here is where you would want to start, kicking the hips out a little bit. I mean, a little bit of a thicker frame, so it might be a little bit harder for you to start that kind of momentum, but it's definitely something you can work on and try to improve, okay? Now, so let's take you out of your leg lift. Let's bring you down. So here's where you kind of separate the hands, and you see how you drop the foot right there. See, at this point, if I draw a line up, your head is even behind that. So all of this part of your body at this point should be on this side of the line. So, again, at this, when you push the foot out like that and just drop it straight down, it's of no use to you to actually lift your leg when you can just start in the stretch position right here and just go from a slide step. Because what you want to do with that leg lift is build momentum, which will help carry you and elongate your stride, and then you can build off of that and speed up even more. But when you're this passive with your back leg and you just, you lift and you pretty much drop and drive, now you're going to start going forward. You might as well just start from this position, if you know what I mean. So let's get you into your load. As we move out, what we need to see here is a leg bend in the knee, a little flex in the knee, and as you're driving out, that knee's going to flex, as you're going out. So it's more of a moving out and a falling at the same time. It's like you're at the same rate. You're kind of moving laterally and then dropping down as you're going out, but it doesn't look like that's going on in this case. So your load is the point where you stay on that back hip. You're loading that leg and you're loading that back hip. So let's see how long you're able to do that before you start speeding up. Okay, so right about here is where you start leg drive, because this is where the heel will come. You'll start to move up onto the toes of the foot more. You'll start curling the toes, and you'll drive into front foot plant. Okay, so at this point here, there's a little collapse in the knee, so that's going to slow you down just a little bit. Okay, we want to keep that knee in torsion It's more of an advanced concept. I think I mentioned that in the first video. Just the idea of keeping that knee on the outside of that hip here. So here's your back hip. We want to keep that knee on this side of the hip. So if I were to draw an angle on your knee, you see how the middle of the angle is pointing inward? I want the middle of the angle to point outward, like that. That'll give you a much more explosive back leg to push into a front foot plant. So if we go back to your load, you'll drop the leg, you'll load the hip, and then you'll start pushing forward. And then the knee will start collapsing in a little bit too early, and it could be a little flexibility issue too. But notice how your back foot and leg drive now at this point, as your heel starts to come off the ground, we want to see the heel kind of get peeled off this way, not just lift straight up off the ground. And an indication of that is when the toes curl. It means that you're getting the weight to shift to the inside part of the foot, and it'll get up onto the ball of the foot, but to the inside of the foot, and that'll give you some leverage to drive with some distance. Let's see how far you actually do drive once we get that heel up. If I draw a line here at your ankle, let's see if there's any gaining of ground there. Not too much, because your heel just kind of pops up and the knee collapses, and you haven't really gotten off the rubber, and you've put down here. So not too much power yet going into front foot, but again, you're a bigger kid, so it's not like it's a one size fits all. There's lots of ways you can get power, but that's typically how most pitchers will get power, is that they'll get their back leg to extend, they'll get a good long powerful stride, they'll have a burst of speed going from here to here, where they'll actually gain ground and their foot will land out here, in most cases, but in some cases not. So let's get you to front foot plant. So you get the front foot plant right here, and you can see a little bit of some early rotation of the chest, because really where we brace up our leg right about here. So you can see that your left elbow, your glove side elbow is gone, and you've already started to rotate. So you don't have too much hip and shoulder separation going on here. So that's something that we can work on in the future as well, as we get more explosive in the lower half. Okay, so a little bit of some early trunk rotation, but I'll tell you one thing you do excellent, and this is where you're getting most of your power, is from your front leg. You have great leg extension as you roll the arm back into full external rotation. The leg extends real nice, and most kids at your age don't do that. And the arm abducts nicely up to the shoulder, up above the ear. You pronate at the top of your delivery right there with your hand nicely. You have internal rotation high, which is great. Get on top of the ball. You relieve the stress off the elbow. And let's see how well you convert that power. This is where you convert the lower power to the lower body to the upper body, is when the front foot lands and the knee braces up and then extends back this way into what you're doing. You can even tell how the body's going to lift up and the elbow's going to go up towards the ear hole and throw right over. So you have a great front side pushing power from the ground up into your chest. And let's see how well that power converts. So when you're at full external rotation, get you at an angle here, about 62 degrees. Typically we want to see kids around the mid-50s, maybe even upper 40s at full external rotation. And then let's take a look at where you release the ball, which is about right here, and maybe right there. And you're in the upper 40s there. And power pitchers are probably going to be down in the mid-30s. So there's not too much energy transfer there yet, only because your back leg drive, um, it hasn't reached its full potential yet. So keep working on it. You got to keep working on getting those explosive drills going, those leg jumps, all those power moves that we do, the conditioning, and learning how to really move up and out to get this leg into a more linear position. It's very straight up and down. So your back leg, we want to get that into a linear position early. And look, it's still straight. It's still straight up and down. We want to get that leg about there much sooner in the delivery. And that'll come when we shift our weight. So if we just recap, we want to come up, we want to get some little bit more weight shift in the beginning instead of just kicking the leg out and sitting back on the back leg and then driving forward. That's going to get us out a little bit longer. It's going to get our force vectors more linear. So even your front leg force vector, if you take a look at it, it's very vertical, close to like a 90-degree angle. It's much better off when you land that you're smaller than 90 degrees. Then you can push back. So again, a lot of this is just going to come with some first movements that are a first movement change instead of just dropping and driving like this, lifting and then shifting the weight a little bit sooner, pushing those hips out, and then moving out and down at the same rate instead of just lifting up and then dropping straight down and then pushing forward. That's a directional change of energy there, so it's kind of wasting the energy, where you can build more speed and power into front foot plant. And with your great leg extension in the front, you should really be able to convert some of that power from the back side to the front side, and then up the kinetic chain to the chest, and then to the arm, and watch some good ball velocity pop, okay? All right, I hope that helps you out. I'll talk to you soon.